Struggling with the autofocus on your Sony a6000? Don't you worry, because I'll show you that it's actually not that difficult to master your autofocus. So in this video, I will guide you through several settings like how to select autofocus mode and focus area, how to switch to back button focus and why, and most importantly, I will tell you in which situations which focus mode or area should you use so you always nail your focus. This video is not the shortest one, so make sure to check the time codes below and be prepared to consume a lot of information. And if you're using the newer Sony menu system like the ones for a6400 or a7 III, then check out the other video I made because the placement of the settings is different. Okay. First things first, back button focus. For me, this is the most significant setting to change because it always allows me to get the perfect focus. It's a great addition to your camera. And you see, traditionally, you would trigger the autofocus whenever you press the shutter button halfway down. However, as soon as you release the shutter button, you will be refocusing it again and again for each shot that you take, unless you constantly hold it down and shoot it in continuous shooting mode. But the back button focus method allows you to focus whenever you want, no matter if you hold or release the shutter button. And this method has major advantages. For example, it allows you to change the composition and your focus will remain unchanged. You can release the shutter button whenever you want. You can trigger the autofocus whenever you want. And you basically never need to switch between the single and continuous autofocus because this button you can really work both ways, and you know it will. I'll just show you that all in a minute. But now I will show you how to actually set it up, and I really suggest you to do it because I will be talking about a lot in this video about it. So to change our focus to back button, you need to do two things. First, turn off a pre-autofocus and autofocus with shutter. This setting you can find by opening your menu, gear icon, section 3, and switch both of them to off. Second, then you simply need to assign this button as your focus button. To do that, go to gear icon, section 6, custom key settings, AEL button. Here, select AF on, and you're done. Focus mode. Okay, now let's talk about the focus mode, how to change it and when to use which mode. There are three ways to change the focus mode. First method is from the menu, photo icon, page 2, focus mode, but you know, it's not the fastest way. Another option is to access it by pressing this FN button, and the focus mode selection should be here. If it is not, you can customize which quick sections you see here by opening menu, gear icon, page 6, function menu settings, and here you can choose what settings you have on the top row and which ones on the bottom row. I personally definitely suggest you to include the drive mode, focus area, and exposure compensation here, but the rest is up to you. And the third option how you can access this is if you change your focus mode frequently, then you know it is worth to assign one of these custom buttons like C1 or C2 as your focus mode button, which is the third option, as I said. To do that, open menu, gear icon, page 6, custom key settings, and assign to either custom button 1 or 2. Personally, most of the time I use the function button because it's easy and quick to access, and I don't change the focus mode that often, so you know it's not worth for me to set it as a custom button. Focus mode, when to use what? So let's look at the two most popular focus modes: single shot autofocus, continuous autofocus, and when to use which one. Well, it's actually fairly simple. A single shot is mostly used for static scenes like landscapes, architecture, or still portraits. Basically anything that doesn't move. Continuous autofocus is used in the opposite occasions when there is movement in a scene, and it can, you know, be anything from like wildlife or sports and even street photography, portraits, and so on. To be honest, 90% of the time I personally shoot in continuous autofocus mode, and I'm simply using the advantage of the back button focus I talked about earlier, and I personally keep it simple and just use continuous autofocus almost all the time. If there is a moving object, simply focus on that object and keep the back button pressed to maintain the focus. So then you are able to move back and forth, or left and right, of course, as well, and you can also allow the object to move. However, sometimes your camera can catch and focus on something other than you wanted. In this case, you need to select the correct focus area, which brings us to the next chapter. Focus area, how to set it up. Basically, the steps are almost identical as for focus mode. There are 3 ways again. Through the menu, through the function button, or if you set it up as a custom button. If you don't know how to do it, just jump back on the previous section, because focus area is right next to the focus mode. Focus area differences. Moving on, there are a ton of different focus areas to select from. Most of the times I shoot in wide, which tells the camera to focus automatically on a subject in all ranges of the image. It's quick and convenient to focus, and in general, Sony camera does an amazing job. But if the image is with a lot of elements, it might get confused and focused on something else. Then you need to select other focus areas. Let's look at which ones we have and which ones to use in particular situation. So, if wide doesn't work, you can switch to zone. It allows you to select a zone on the monitor on which to focus, and the camera then automatically will select a focus area on which to focus in that area. So if you want to have a particular composition, just tell the camera to focus on one side of the image and ignore the other side. Center. Camera focuses automatically on a subject in the center of the image. Use this when you know that you want your subject to be in the center. And lastly, the flexible spot. If you can't nail your focus with the wide, zone or center, choose flexible spot. It is the most precise focusing area mode. It's also the slowest one, but at least allows you to focus exactly at one specific, extremely small and narrow point. You can also change the size of this point and you can move it around. Since I love to shoot with my 85mm prime lens, I usually go with the smallest spot. Then I focus on the subject with the back button, I release it, and from there I can make the composition. There are many more things to consider when working with the autofocus, like manual focus, focus peaking, magnification, etc. However, in this video I just wanted to show you the most basic things that should significantly improve your autofocus skills. If you're still struggling with something, please leave a comment down below which is the thing that bothers you and you struggle with most, and as always I'll do my best to help you out. And I really hope you learned something new today, and thanks so much for watching, my friends, and see you all in the next video.